And if you're watching the show live, you will see our Phillies insider Frank Klose is back for another season of Phillies baseball, which got underway this weekend. They are in action currently. We'll get you up to date on that because there's something happening in today's game, Frank, that is very interesting. But we have another edition of the Frank Klose Phillies mailbag, and he joins us right now on the Boardwalk Honda hotline. Welcome back, Frank.
Good to see you, Mike.
It is good to see you. It's good to have Phillies baseball back, and we just got breaking news, as you wrote about at 973ESPN.com, that opening day against the Braves, when Aaron Nola, most likely, toes the rubber, there will be fans in attendance for that game.
Yeah, so the state of Pennsylvania, they announced that there will be 20% capacity for outdoor events, and with Citizens Bank Park's capacity being what it is, that's going to be about 8,800 fans in attendance for the first 19 games. Now, the Phillies are committing to just the first 19 games at this point. The tickets will be available to season ticket holders first, and then the remainder will go on sale on March 12th. So some fans in stands, and the Phillies say that after those first 19 home games, they will reassess and either increase or hopefully not decrease, depending on how things are in the world with the virus.
Yeah, that should be great news. And 8,800 fans is what they're saying. I mean, that's a decent amount. They're going to sit them in pods of 2, 3, some in 4, very few in 5, 6, I guess, if you come together with a group. But 8,800 down in the lower bowl, I don't know if they're going to do just lower bowl. I would imagine you're just trying to, I don't know. But 8,800.
Space them out.
What's that?
They could space them out.
Yeah, I mean, are they going to open up the second deck for 8,800 people?
I guess it depends on how far they want to separate them from each other. Down in spring training, they're pretty well separate. So I wouldn't be shocked if they use the upstairs, Mike.
All right, well, we'll see how that is. That's a month away, but 8,800 fans just announced, and also Flyers and Sixers will also get about 3,000 fans starting this Sunday. That fans will be allowed back in, so you can get more details at our website, 973ESPN.com. Frank's Phillies mailbag is back for another season. And, I want to start with this, though. Odubel Herrera is in the lineup today. He is batting fifth and playing right field. I looked back at his history. He has played 9 games in right field. So this is somewhat something new for him. What is the message to you about him getting time in right field today? I mean, is that them trying to see if he can be versatile and play in other spots? How do you read that?
Well, actually, this ended up being one of the mailbag questions, so I'll kind of dig into as to what I see this is. So let's think for a second. So this is a game which fans cannot watch on TV. They cannot listen to it on the radio, and it's not a home game. So that seems like that's when they want Odubel Herrera to play when he plays. What I think is happening here is that the real center field battle is Adam Haseley, Scott Kingery, and Roman Quinn. I can't imagine any world in which Odubel Herrera has any shot at besting those guys. So why is he playing? Well, I think this goes back to what happened when the Phillies followed the collective bargaining agreement and did not double punish Odubel Herrera. He had his suspension. That's supposed to make it over with in terms of punishment. The Phillies can't release him. Makes it seem like that's extra punishment. But let's be honest, there really is not a place for Odubel Herrera on this roster, and he really wasn't playing that great even beforehand. In fact, you mentioned those games he's played in the corners. A lot of that came in 2018 when the Phillies started to say, is he that much of a center fielder anyway?
Well, he wasn't a very good defensive player to begin with, right?
But he was not.
You don't think they're saying, hey, if he could play right field and he could play left field, in other words, you're right. He's not in the center field battle. But if he could play center and he could play right and he could play left, that gives them more reason to consider him over, well, he only plays center field. He only does one. Because I can understand if he only does one thing, well, then we can't keep him. But if he shows he can play right and he shows he can play left and he plays center, well, now he plays all 3 outfield positions and he's more keepable.
I really don't think any of this matters, to be honest with you. Bryce Harper's clearly in right field, and Andrew McCutchen's in left field. And when he doesn't play, you're going to see some Brad Miller. You're going to see some Adam Haseley because they're lefties. I think the Phillies are going to try to play him enough
So
so that they
okay,
can say they
I
tried.
agree. Like, and look, I hope he doesn't make the team. I think they should have got rid of him. I understand the financial situation, but then why even give him a shot? Why even stick him in right field? He doesn't. They don't have to put him out there, right?
So, I think they do. Here's what I think's going on. I think the Phillies can't double release him, right? That was the thing we've been talking about for a while. So they're going to play him just enough to say, "Oh, we tried. Guess there's no place for you." Then they can justify releasing him for baseball reasons. I think this is all a ruse. I don't think he does have a hit today. I think at the very end, I don't even know if he makes it to the end of spring training. At some point, they're going to let him go, and they're going to make an announcement. Well, he really doesn't have a path to the big leagues here. If we release him now, maybe he has a chance to catch on with somebody else.
All right.
So I think there's zero chance he is on the Phillies this year. I think what they're paying him doesn't matter. That's spent money that they can't get back no matter what. And I don't know. You'll watch him play in Pittsburgh next year or something.
All right. Well, that was a question that was in the mailbag, but I definitely think it was worth kind of bringing up as well and kind of getting a little deeper in because, as Ben wanted to know, does Odubel Herrera really have a shot at making the roster? You say no shot. So I guess the question would be then, center field, how do they break that time up? Because really, Frank, the way I see it, center field and the bullpen and the 4 and 5 spots of the rotation, they're your battles right now.
Yeah, so center field, I don't think they're going to necessarily get somebody that just sort of claims the job and runs away with it. I mean, I think Adam Hasty looks good. The early storyline is that he's in a lot better shape. He's put on some muscle. He had a home gym built and all this stuff. So, of course, the first pitch he sees this spring, he hits out for a home run. So I guess that's a good start for Adam Hasty. But I think that's a position they just don't have to worry about. I mean, it's a battle, so to speak, but the guys that don't win are also going to be on the roster. So, and they're all usable pieces. Scott Kingery's versatility has helped them in the past. The fact that he can jump in at any position is going to help them. When Andrew McCutchen needs a day off, that's another opportunity for another outfielder. If Roman Quinn's on the bench, he can give you a lot of speed. So I think that all three of them are part of the plans, and who plays more might just be a matter of throughout the course of the season who has the hotter hand. Adam Hasley's going to have to show he hits lefties. Roman Quinn's going to have to show he's not going to get hurt. And Scott Kingery can play anywhere. And Mickey Moniak hopefully shows them enough that if they need to dig down and grab an outfielder out of the minors, that he can do it too. So I'm not worried so much about center field in terms of them covering the position capably. The other positions are pretty set. I just think it's a matter of who's going to play when, and that will evolve, I think, throughout the course of the season.
All right, Zach wants to know your prediction for the bullpen because by my count, there's about 40 guys trying to get – and you have starters who aren't going to make that rotation that could go down. So you have Velasquez, Chase Anderson, Spencer Howard – like if they don't win a spot, Ivan Nova, are they in the mix for the bullpen? Not to mention the guys that are already in the bullpen mix. How do you break this bullpen down?
So Archie Bradley, of course, is their one major league signee, so he'll be at the back end. The Phillies have him listed as closer at the moment, although they haven't really proclaimed him closer. He's on the depth chart as a closer. Hector Neris is still there, be a back end option. Brandon Kinsler, one of the minor league signings, I think he really is going to be an important part of this bullpen. Brandon Kinsler is somebody who turned down a major league deal with the Marlins so that he could play for the Phillies. He's taking the risk that he doesn't make the team, right? Even though it's not a guaranteed deal, I think that the Phillies and Kinsler both believe that he's going to be part of the picture, and maybe they even said that to him, like, look. We can't promise you, but we promise you you'll be on this roster. I really like Tony Watson from the left side. He's really not had many down years. A nice veteran lefty in the bullpen for the first time in a while. I mean, last year it was the Alvarez / Morgan / Romero show eventually. And speaking of Romero, I think he's in the bullpen. I think Ranger Suarez will be around in the bullpen, although we don't really know what we have with him yet. Unfortunately, after last year, his COVID battle kind of knocked him out of commission. And then I think Vince Velasquez is a lock for the bullpen. I do not see Vince Velasquez starting. And then beyond that, of Matt Moore, Chase Anderson, or Spencer Howard will have to be in the bullpen too. So I think I would count on Velasquez being there. And then I'm not ready to say yet which of those three starters will be in the bullpen. Um, Spencer Howard, they could kind of hold him back at a little, for the first bit and then let him loose later. We've seen major league teams do that in the past, and then he'll start down the season just to cut his innings back. But I for once you don't feel like it's a total free for all. A lot of those guys that are in camp, some will go to AAA, and then hopefully they'll have somebody they can grab down the line.
All right, John DeStefano has an interesting question. He wants to know, what's better, a bad season, 70, 92, you're way out of it, or another 500-esque season and you missed the playoffs, but you feel like you're close? Which is better for this organization with where they currently reside?
I think they are better than an 81 team. And, looking at the 60-game season, it's almost not a fair sample size. The fact that the Phillies had all those doubleheaders because of other teams, that really hurt them down the stretch. Certainly as their starting pitching fell apart. But the starting pitching falling apart is not going to be the same problem that it was last year. That you don't have to see Jake Arrieta be in and out, right, to the point where fans were not too fond of Jake Arrieta by the end, right? So he's not a worry. Vince Velasquez giving you his 4 1/3 inning starts that he's known for, probably not going to be a worry. Bullpen, they got to be better than last year, right? I mean, I think that's the one thing I can say with pretty good certainty.
That's the one thing that has to be better. By accident, you could not do what you did last year again, ever again.
Yeah. It just has to be, right. So I think the Phillies are kind of smart in that, the new baseball operations president, David Dombrowski, he could have tried to tear it down again, but I think he didn't do that because he thinks there are some pieces there, fixing the bullpen, having that reliable starting pitching. The Phillies can be better than 81. The question kind of is how much better.
Yeah.
And then how much better will actually make the playoffs.
Okay, real quick. You didn't get to this question. It came in probably late, but we have about a minute. Greg wants to know, is there any pressure on Girardi to make the playoffs? Somebody already wants Girardi on the hot seat.
I think if the Phillies don't make the playoffs, they'll take the perspective that Girardi did what he could, and that's an indictment of the roster. I don't think Girardi is on the hot seat at all. They did their best last year. He did his best last year with what he had.
How do you even evaluate last year 60 games? How do you even evaluate that?
Right, exactly. That was kind of my point in the previous question. That it's a really small sample size.
Yeah.
I think you'll see more out of Girardi this year. Hopefully, there's not all these doubleheaders and quarantines and teams shutting down on you, and it'll be a lot better for the Phillies this year.
All right, Frank Klose is back with the Phillies mailbag. Get his full answers to all these questions at 973ESPN.com. And, of course, you can send a question for Frank for next week's mailbag. Hit him up at Frank Klose. That's Frank Klose with a K, and he will answer your mailbag questions here on the Sports Bash and on our website, 973ESPN.com. All right, Frank, episode 1 in the books for the 2021 season. It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you, too, and actually see you.
Yes, we'll be seeing more of you every Tuesday with the mailbag and whenever Phillies news happens at 973ESPN.com. All right, that's our Phillies insider, Frank Klose. He's the best, man. And he'll be down at spring training covering the Phillies at some point for a couple of games down the road. We will tap into him as well.